Now, let's go get 10 more losses before we get this next win. And people don't want to hear that, but you at least prepare for the worst and hope for the best, right? So like we're going to prepare, we're going to get 10 losses. But if we get 5 or 7 wins out of those 10, fuck yeah, let's go. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Music Making Sense podcast. It's your boy Harkos. With me, as always, is the one, the only KP. KP, how the fuck y'all doing today, man?
I'm good, man. How's it going, brother?
Shit, doing good, man. Just out here doing my thing, just constantly trying to improve my life one day at a time, just doing whatever I can, whether it's, hopping on here, creating another episode of Music Making Sense podcast with you, or if it's working on editing the video for my own music or helping other artists, grow their fan base and stuff like that. Just try to one day at a time, man. One day at a time.
Same here, man. Just actually got a couple of drum tracks I'm about to start working on, and I decided to so funny that we were talking about. I was talking about myself the other day, and we were talking about myself being a jazz artist, right?
Right.
And I started thinking about it, like, yeah, I got out of metal after just being frustrated with it and things like that, and just being frustrated with the scene. But as time went on, and I got myself, we went and finally got myself a double bass pedal. The metal and rock side, just that metal and rock energy started kicking back in, and I realized I'm looking at all the songs that I've written like lately after just, being away from bands and stuff, and just songs that I've written on my own. And I'm just looking at them, and now I'm starting to piece them together and putting different drum beats and shit to them, and it's starting to come out really cool. So I think I'm gonna have a more pop-like structure with this next album, and working with my clients has been awesome. I've been, just same as you said, my work clients has been awesome, and just one of them, shout out to my guy Elements MC. He just killed it in this challenge that he did on Instagram. Became one of the top three finalists and top 3 winners. So yeah, big up to him. And then shout out to my girl Katie. Katie, she's out here. She's in the UK, and she's getting her album out. Her album's coming out in October, and she's dropping her new single. So it's a lot of exciting things going on for my crew, man. And I'm feeling good, man. So yeah,
that's dope, man. I remember you telling me about the one with Elements the other day. That's pretty dope.
Yeah, that was fresh. So that was a really good spark, and that was like just telling him consistently, just being on him, just saying, hey, you know what, you got skills. Right. Showcase your dopeness. That's, that was the main focus that we're just doing, and then him just being able to now start putting content around that, and he's being able to showcase it, and it worked for him in a way where he didn't even think it would. Right. And now he realizes it.
Right. Well, and that's one of the things is that, even if you know what you need to do, the path you need to take and stuff like that, the road to get there, to actually get a little bit of success, has a lot of downs, and you got to be able to withstand all the downs before you have the ups. And it's a bleak perspective. It sucks.
Yeah.
But it is that's how life is in total. You can't go 1 for 1 every single time you put in an application to get a different job. You can't go 1 for 1 every time you try to get a promotion. You can't go 1 for 1 every time you try to get, somebody in your bedroom or whatever. Like, that's just how life is. So you can't expect to go 1 for 1 whenever you put your music out there, or you try to take on a different endeavor of whatever kind.
You can't get a hit every time you go up the bat.
No, you can't. You can't, no matter what it is.
Even if you're on a streak.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I see artists doing, is that they'll start getting a little bit of success, like, oh, I just got like over 1,000 streams this week or blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, something like that, like small little nuggets of success,
Mhm.
oh, I just got like 40 new followers on whatever social media or whatever, stuff like that. They'll start seeing the progress and it makes
Right.
you feel good. And I
Mhm.
agree. But then when you go 2, 3, 4 weeks or months of, not really getting past that, on average over a month, it's like
Right.
up and down, but it's still staying basically stagnant. It's
Mhm.
hard to keep that motivation for a lot of people. And I run into that a lot with a lot of the artists that I work with and ones that I previously worked with, is that some people just lose like it. They run on very, very high octane jet fuel, basically.
Pretty
Very
much.
a very high flash. As soon as the spark hits, very high flash, and then that shit burns out quick, you
Mhm.
know. And so I I I I think that's one of the biggest things that not only as an artist, but as a human, you just need to work on, because it's one of those things that's going to help you in life no matter where you are, what you're doing, anything like that. That's going to
Exactly.
be the key.
Yeah.
That's the key. And so yeah, for Elements to get there, and then he got the number 3 and he's feeling good and everything. It's like, okay, now let's go get 10 more losses before we get this next win. And people don't want to hear that, but you at least prepare for the worst and hope for the best, right? So like,
Yep.
we're going to get 10 losses, but if
Mhm.
we get 5 or 7 wins out of those 10, fuck yeah, let's go,
But in
but
actuality, though, when you think about it, just to add a little bit what you're saying,
right.
when you look at and this is what I was saying to him. When you look at, and I heard this, it was shout out to who was it? I think it was Dame Ritter who said this. When he was talking on, he was just on the No Labels podcast. Shout out to Sean and Corey. They were doing an interview with him, and he made a very valid point about how even when you enter those challenges, he said, yeah, it was Dame. Yep. Shout out to Dame Ritter for this one. He said, when you enter those contests, even if you don't win, he was like, think about this. And I even said this, and I thought about this myself, which is so true. It's a win-win situation because you may not win the contest, and I've even told Elements this, but you start winning fans.
Mm-hmm.
So the more you go in there, yeah, those 10 losses, right? But think about how many fans you are going to gain within those 10 entries that you actually went and challenged yourself as a rap artist.
Yeah, and any more than 0, like if you gain fans more than 0, that's a win.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't go do that, then you wouldn't have gotten the exposure. You wouldn't have gotten the opportunity to get a fan or 2 fans. And that's the thing I see a lot of people do, is they expect, oh, I'm going to go up here, I'm going to rock out, I'm going to kill it, and I'm going to get, thousands of fans, money's going to start rolling in, I can quit my job. It's like, no, you can't do that off of one thing,
Yeah.
man. Nobody's ever done that. Like, not even the greats in any musical genre, none of them have done that. Like, not even the ones who have popped off the fastest in the new age of social media and streaming and everything like that we're dealing with today, because back in the day, like prior to 10 years ago, any other time in the music industry, it's been one of those things where you got to do that long years and years and years of grinding and working your way through the system and everything like that. Well, now with the internet, we don't have to, like I talked about in the last episode, we don't have to, but still, it still does. It's not an overnight thing. You can't post your music video or one clip or something like that and expect to start getting hundreds of millions of followers and views on every time you post something. It doesn't work like that.
Exactly.
And then and that just goes back to that old adage, where people, what is it, like people see the success, but they don't see the path that it took to get there, or whatever it is, like that. And so
Which I
yeah.
think could lead into this topic which leads
All
into
right.
a really good topic on this, man. When you think about it, artists selling their catalogs.
Yeah.
Now I know you, Pat, because you had posted that on your
Right.
on your gram. So
Yeah.
you
I posted that everywhere. So like,
okay, you did post it everywhere. Cool.
yeah, like
So
I
what was
said,
your theory on it? So there's a thing
right.
you said you
Yeah,
had a
so I
theory on it.
got
So
I got an
or
interesting
philosophy.
theory. Yeah, I
Or
got an
philosophy
interesting theory.
okay. All right, let's hear
Right.
that.
Yeah, it's a hypothesis. Right.
Okay.
It's a hypothesis because and it has a little bit of merit as well too, in the business sense. But
Uh-huh.
so as he was saying, I posted up on all of my socials actually, because what I do is whenever I post something, I
Mhm.
post it up on all the platforms. And so this was an image with some text, and so obviously I can only post it on so many different platforms. But well, I posted it up. It was Wiz Khalifa is getting ready to, like, he just sold like $100 million or a few $100 million, something like that. He sold a lot of his back catalog or something like that for a good chunk of change.
Okay.
And I've been seeing this. I saw Nelly do it. I mean, we heard about Bieber doing it, the Michael Jackson estate doing it, Dr. Dre doing it. A lot of people do it.
Future, yeah.
Yeah, and then I was looking it up before the show here. Future had did it recently, and like there's like old artists, new artists from all different genres that sell their back catalog. And I was looking it up, and whenever I just did the Google search of it, Google just started talking to me randomly and was telling me that a
Yeah, I
lot
was
of
sitting here
artists,
when it was happening while he was
yeah,
talking.
yeah, a lot of artists, it was saying a lot of artists will do it because royalties are taxed as regular income at like 37%. And so if you're getting that year over year over year over year, you're constantly getting taxed at that 37% no matter what you're making. However, if you take a big lump sum that's more than what you're going to make over the next 5-10 years, then you can take that money and you can use it for whatever thing. Well, that's really, really good, but that wasn't my original hypothesis.
Okay.
My original hypothesis was that I feel that some artists or some management companies or some labels or whatever are seeing, either have inside information or are seeing the trend where royalties from music consumption and income from music consumption is on the decline and is going to decline. Now I had a pretty radical theory about it, that basically, so some of these artists and their companies and stuff like that, they were seeing that or whatever. So these artists are like, okay, well, let me cash out for 100 million, 500 million, 200 million, whatever the situation is.
Right.
Let me get hundreds of millions of dollars right now, pay that 37% tax or whatever it is. It might be a little bit more for that much money, but either way, you pay that percentage of tax or whatever. Well, that's a write-off for this calendar year for all your income, blah, 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 all that stuff from the business side. But now you have hundreds of millions of dollars, or even let's just say you get 50% tax on that. You're still got millions and millions of dollars now, right? You don't have to wait for the quarterlies to come through or the annuals or however it's set up with your distro, kicking you royalties or BMI and ASCAP and your mechanical royalties, performance, all that stuff, right? If you sell some of your back catalog, they're not selling their new stuff, they're selling their older stuff, like anything they've already released. Basically, they're selling that, they're getting the money right now, and then they can go and invest in other business ventures. Like some of them may be doubling down, investing in their self with their music, but a lot of these artists, most of these artists that are making good money, don't rely on music or even touring and merch sales for their income. That's a secondary or a third or a fourth income, right? That their primary incomes come from other businesses they have holdings in, like 50 Cent, for instance. He doesn't rely on his fucking music stuff. He's taken his music money and he's reinvested it into production companies and film and different aspects and different avenues.
Chameleonaire with technology.
Right, yeah, Chameleonaire with technology, Jeezy with real estate,
like Jadakiss with him and his father and son doing the their coffee shop.
Yeah, all different kinds of things, and like a lot of these people,
Joe Budden podcast.
Well, yeah, there's that, but yeah, so a lot of people they'll invest into something that people see up front, but a lot of them do things that they're just a partner in that they don't. It's not well known, know. you know, like how McDonald's is a major shareholder in Chipotle. Everybody thinks, oh, I'm going to Chipotle, it's better than McDonald's, I'm getting all healthy. It's like,
But they're
you're
like, they're
basically getting McDonald's.
yeah,
You
they're
get
it's
McDonald's
real
tacos.
estate, dude. Like that's what I've
Well,
always said, that it's the
well,
real estate. They got that real estate, so yeah, they're able to get
yeah.
Chipotle. So
Well,
y'all
it's
just
not,
jumping.
yeah, well, it's not just that, you're still getting the food from the same place.
Right, that's my point.
So you're getting McDonald's tacos.
Yeah, you're invested into the same real estate.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
what
you're
I'm
just
saying,
getting
because,
McDonald's tacos and burritos. And yeah, they might cook it fresh right there, but you guarantee that shit is not as cool as you think it is, right? Health wise. But anyway, like a lot of people have do all that kind of stuff. And so
Right.
so that was my hypothesis. Plus, I also had another portion where I have an even crazier hypothesis, because that seems completely legitimate. My crazier one is that, so anybody who has dove in a little bit knows that the DSPs, or the streaming platforms,
Right,
Spotify, Apple Music, stuff like that, they work very, very close, hand in hand with the major record companies, which there's like 5, 6, 7 of, something like that. It's less than a handful.
Oh, like the big three?
Like the big ones,
Okay,
right?
yeah,
Like I think there's like 10 major record labels or something like that. Like the big ones, like Interscope and RCA, stuff like that.
Okay,
yeah, like the big ones.
Yeah,
Virgin, like the big
Virgin.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like the big ones. Well, they work hand in hand with the streaming companies. And that's why when the streaming companies were cracking down on, people running bots and bots farms and stuff like that, some people came forward, like that one dude on the Brandman Network podcast that me and you actually originally had our first conversation about. I can't remember his name.
Chad Focus.
Yeah, Chad Focus. Chad Focus got busted for all that stuff, but he was working for some of the majors and blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of intricacies in his specific case, but
right,
people who look at it, they know these major labels, they're running bots and bot farms, but they're cracking down on, me or you or something like that, running like 10 different bot farm, 10 different, a small bot farm operation.
Well, yeah.
They only get you a couple thousand streams a month, or maybe 10,000 streams a month, something like that, right?
Right.
So they're cracking down on that. Well, that's got to be for a reason. Well, there's probably a legal aspect where these major companies are saying, yes, Spotify, Apple, whatever, we will give you the rights to play our artist music. However, we get 50% rev share, and we're going to go over here and run up these streams. So then you can get, it's looking like you're getting more hits on the ads that you're running, so you can charge more for the ads and blah, blah, blah. It's a partnership, right?
It's a partnership.
And so they're like, okay, well, you're running bots for a small percentage, but it's a decent percentage of your artist streams and stuff like that. Well, now it's, it's mutually beneficial to both people. Well, my grander hypothesis is that the record companies will soon out and out, completely up front, own the DSPs. And so
I can see where that's coming from.
Yeah. And then when that happens, they will be the only ones getting money off the ad revenue, and royalties will go to damn near nothing or non-existent. And I know right now it's already at like 0.04 cents per stream or something like that, right? But it's going to go to like zero at some point, because the market is getting so flooded. It's so easy to get your stuff out there. It's going to end up being like social media is, where people, it's just a mechanism for reach. It's not a mechanism for income.
Right.
And so that's my overall hypothesis, is that, the major labels, they in practice run the DSPs right now, but soon it will be inked that they will run the DSPs, because the music industry has always kept a stranglehold on their industry. And so if it's a new thing, like when Napster popped up and LimeWire and all that shit back in the early 2000s popped up with all that stuff, they took a stranglehold on that and everything like that. Like, they own Napster. That's why when you put your music out on DistroKid, you see Napster as one of the platforms, because they
they pay the most, by the way. And they pay the most. They pay the independent artists the most, by the way. Just to throw that out there, guys.
There's that, and they Yeah, but so they sued Napster into ownership of them now, basically. And so then they used all of their technology in their back for, and that's how a lot of these major labels got into digitizing music. Because Napster was able to figure out how to
Yeah, how
digitize
to
music
digitize music.
and
Yeah.
go from there. And then the same thing with Steve Jobs with the iPod and stuff like that. Those things converged, and now that's why I think that royalties are going to go to zero, like absolute zero. You're not going to get money off of that. So I always tell people, like, look, put your shit out there and everything like that, but don't rely on it. I mean, I can't believe, dude, like I said in one of the previous podcasts, I took 2 years off from even focusing on social media and stuff like that. It's focusing on getting my education and getting plans down and focusing on me, right? And I come back after 2 years from 2021 to 2023, and I still see people paying for playlist placement on
Yeah.
Spotify and stuff like that through like these bot farms and stuff. I'm like, hold on a second, like, how is this shit still working? Because in 2020 and 2021, that shit was like going
Going
away.
away.
All of the
Yeah.
halfway legitimate or legitimate ones were like switching to other business models in order to, it's like switching to marketing promotion, like legitimate, instead of running that, because they saw it going out the window and stuff like that. So I'm just like, that's one of the things. I don't see why people are doing it, but people still read the newspaper, so there's that.
Yeah.
But but that's what I see. I see the major labels owning the DSPs, taking royalties from streams down to basically zero, if not zero, them owning everything, and then them locking out a lot of the indies, or making it a little bit more difficult, or just straight raping the indies, one of the two, because they always do that. And then obviously there's going to be a new technology that comes around. NFTs for the sake of music might be an option, but I think that there's going to be something else around the corner that we haven't seen yet. A lot of artists, they're looking at NFTs and stuff like that, and it has potential and everything, but I don't think it's there yet in regards to merchandise and stuff like that, when it comes to, like, every time that song is sold to somebody else or whatever, then everybody gets a chunk or whatever. That doesn't seem to be sustainable in my eye, but I do see NFTs being great for smart contracts, and stuff like that. But I don't personally see them being good for that. But anyway, so like the technology will eventually change to where, people can put their stuff out on and get music into the hands of their fans, to where their fans can listen to it whenever they want to. But all these streaming platforms and everything already basically do that, and so whenever I see these major artists, to circle back around before I start going down rabbit holes, when I see these major artists selling their back catalog for hundreds of millions of dollars up front, that's what I hypothesize. And so to make that in a positive light, because I know it's kind of been a downward spiral, to make that in a positive light, if you pay attention, not just to me, because I'm not an oracle, but if you pay attention to what's going on in society, in theory, like I am, like KP is and stuff like that, you pay attention to what's going on in the business and shit, you're going to see, oh, okay, streams are trending downward. Okay, I'll still put my shit out there because it's $20 a year from DistroKid just to put it out there. Fuck all the extras and add-ons and all that stuff. Fuck all that shit, right?
Right.
Put it out there. That way it's an avenue for exposure. Because everyone's heard on Random Shuffle at least one new artist that they found. They're like, oh, okay, like, and whether it's a major, it's a medium, or it's an indie artist, that all varies. But I think people are going to need to build something substantial for their fan base to give them money in some way, and I think, selling physical CDs, yeah, it sometimes works, but it's a novelty, right? You're going to have a small percentage of people that do that. Where I think it's actually going to come in to play is where artists have affiliate deals with sponsors, with brands, have brand deals, whatever you want to call it.
Or you can have this right here where, okay, I'm just reading here that it was said after establishing a partnership with the Universal Music Group, Republic Records managed to enlist the talents of pop major acts such as Ariana Grande, Post Malone, and The Weeknd, and they were also off. They were also the first major label in the United States to sign a deal with DistroKid,
which is interesting. Yeah, I mean, there's always been at least Back Channel, that DistroKid was owned, or at least partially owned, by a major label anyway. That was always kind of like the word on the street.
Right. And here, but here's my, okay, so to give my philosophy on it.
Kind of like how Lexus is owned by Toyota. You know,
right.
you can get a Camry, or
you can get a Camry,
you can get the LS, whatever, you know.
Right.
Or stuff like that. But what were you saying?
So for me, from looking at it, I'm looking at it from a perspective of it. To me, if I'm already on DistroKid, I already signed with the label. I signed up with the label deal instead of going with the artist and musician deal. I went with the label package.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I felt like if you're gonna go independent, why go with the music artist, the single musician, or the second package?
You got to at least go with the second package. That way you can reuse ICRCs.
Well, you can use REIRC, right? But if you go with the label package, that means you have all those and then some.
Yeah, exactly.
So to me, and that's another thing too, is what I feel is that a lot of it just to go into that where
and to say that real quick, that's only $80 a year.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like it's $80 a month.
It's not like $80 a month. Right.
Yeah, I could see people being like, well, that's too much. But when people say DistroKid, the maximum label one, is too much, I'm like,
no, it's not. In fact, if you are, and that's why I just to give just to kind of sum up my kind of cut and dry take on it. Yes. Why not just sign up with the label package?
Yep.
Problem solved, because now you're able to get yourself, because then you're able to put up more artists, and then you're able to do a lot more things. Because think about it, if you want to start your own label, right? That's where you can go. And I mean, you can, and it's easy to get that, to have that startup to where now you can start getting involved with understanding your taxes, the understanding how royalties work, all those things. So just go ahead, and if you're an artist, just go with the package label. I mean, just to give the label package.
Yeah, and it's $80 a year, which equals out to $6.66 a month.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's it.
You know, yeah. And as of right now, we don't have an affiliation with them, but we are working on getting an affiliate deal with DistroKid. But I just thought of that in hindsight. But
yeah,
you know, but anyway, like, you know, I mean, you can go get a TuneCore if you want. Fuck it, whatever, you know. Like
some of these DistroKid, because the TuneCore is they're kind of going to I would
it's interesting.
DistroKid is the shit. I would rather go DistroKid personally.
I mean, I got love for Papoose. I mean, he's right here. You know what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is that, you know, I mean, TuneCore has always, like, to me, you know, when I look at their package offerings and, you know, all the different pluses and minuses and stuff like that, it's like, you know.
And CD Baby's taken away. They cut their contract with disc makers, so I'm just like, all right. So that just means I'll just go through them. So
yeah. But anyway, you know, whatever one you use, you know, it's not that expensive.
No, it's not.
Right.
So with that being said, so with that topic, since we cleared that up, I think that was pretty cool. I think we definitely answered some, got a good
yeah, and if we didn't answer any questions, obviously put some down below.
Yeah, put some down below. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, this topic I wanted to bring up because I felt like this was a really, and it just came up today. And I was watching, shout out to John Klaus or Jay Klaus. I'm sorry. I was just watching this new podcast that I'm getting into. And he was interviewing a gentleman called, his name's Guy Raz. This guy's a podcaster. He's one of the best podcasters out in the game right now. And he was talking about talent being overrated. And his whole goal, so that's what we're going to talk about right now. Is talent overrated? And I should have pulled up the video clip. I think I pull up. Yeah, let's pull up a video clip.
Okay.
So that way you guys can see what I'm talking about.
So, what is it, do you think, that separates the people like you interview on The Great Creators versus people who don't make it that far in their careers? You know, we hear them, you talk to them, they sound like they have the same problems we do, and they think through things similarly to how we do. So what is it that helps them get to that next level?
It's really, really, really straightforward. I mean, look, there's no question that they all have an element of talent, right? But I think this concept of talent is wildly overrated. I mean, most people that you and I know have talent, actually. Most people that we encounter have a talent, even if they don't recognize it, right? And the difference between the people who become so-called great creators and those who may not is that maybe really what their talent is just a fierce like pursuit of their craft. So in other words, to kind of boil it down to a simple phrase, they do the reps. They do the reps. I mean, you hear the story of Tom Hanks, and Tom Hanks spent the first few years of his life, of his career, forgive me, when he was in his 20s, doing summer stock theater, summer stock Shakespeare. Every single day, he would get up, he would perform. He would get in Cleveland, actually. He was in Cleveland, Ohio, right? Performing every day. And then he moved to New York and he does more theater and more theater. Judith Light, who became internationally famous as Angela Bauer on the sitcom Who's the Boss. She was an actress. One of her first roles was as an actress on One Life to Live. She had vowed never to do a soap opera because she thought it was beneath her. She wanted to be a stage actress. She wanted to be on Broadway, but she couldn't get roles on Broadway. She got an understudy gig on One Life to Live. The production crew liked her, so they offered her a role. And that role turned into like a 6-year gig that got her 2 Emmys. What she told me was the reason why she was able to become a really great actress, and now she's, she does Broadway, she's been on, huge shows, she's won Emmys, but what enabled her to get to that place was getting to a set every day, One Life to Live, and performing, acting every day, because a daytime soap is a 5-day-a-week show. So for years, she had to memorize scripts. She had to come and show up and do the reps. And that's what it's about. I mean, even people like Ben Gibbard of Death Cab for Cutie, indie rock god, right? 4 albums that have reached the top 10 on the Billboard charts. The guy writes music every single day. He's now in his mid-40s. He still produces outstanding music. I just saw him perform in Oakland, California. He sets aside 2 to 3 hours every day, butt in chair, to write music. Does he have to do it for the money? No. He's got plenty of money. Does he have to do it for the fame and accolades? No. He does it because he's looking every day. He's still searching, seeking out ways to get better at his craft. And that's the key. It's about showing up and working and working and working, even when it's challenging, even when there is no work. I mean, Billy Porter, again, hugely successful stage actor, fashion icon. I mean, there were years, there was almost a decade where he had no work. I mean, he was really out of work, but he still did the reps. He took classes in screenwriting. He showed up for auditions. He did small parts on off Broadway shows, whatever he could get to do the reps, to continue and continue and continue until, of course, at a certain point, he hit a tipping point, and now, of course, he's very, very famous and very successful.
All right. So, with that being said,
that's a good one, man. It plays to the whole 10,000 hours mindset or whatever it is, and like
shout out to Jay Klaus for that interview, for that great interview too with Guy Raz, man. That
seems pretty good. But like like what they said about the Beatles, how the Beatles sucked, but then they went back to England and they played like 8 hours a day every single day for a certain amount of time. When they came back, they were just like amazing. Yep. Yeah, I mean, when you do something every day, and you put the discipline in to work on your craft every single day, then you're going to get better at it. That's absolutely true. So yeah, like he says, talent is overrated. And I think what I got from that too is where he was saying that, talent is overrated. That's a good way to put it. But I mean, talent is something that you got to hone, and you have
you definitely do. You got to hone your craft. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what I was thinking too. Like, because I was just thinking about myself as 23 years, I was a metal front man. Right. And it took it because of and it started off from singing at 6 years old. But I also remember growing up and being very percussive, right? So now and I ended up becoming a drummer around 43. That's when I picked up jazz drumming. But I remember how much I would just sit there and beat on the desk, and how much I would write, how much I would sing. And now it's like when I was at 43, and then when I turned 43 years old, I was able to get on the damn kit and play. And people were tripping out like, holy shit, Coley, we didn't know you could play. I'm like, and I thought about all that time banging on the desk and just being in a band and and listening to my drummers and writing to them and hearing the sound and just that constantly being in my ear.
Mm-hmm.
And now being able to have the ineptitude to transfer that to being a drummer.
Yeah, you had that heartbeat in you. And so that's what a lot of people will call the natural talent. However, if you don't then work on that every day, or bare minimum at multiple times a week, just to, constantly stay at it, you're not going to get better. Yeah, you might still be able to do some cool shit with your fingers on a desk, but you can't translate that into something bigger and better. And that's the same way with anything that you want to do. I can't remember who did the 10,000 hours thing or whatever. There's a book out there about,
I remember that book.
You do something for 10,000 hours and then you're going to be an expert or whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Well, same thing Bruce Lee said too, about learning one move and learning to practicing it 10,000 times, learning how to do one move, then learning 10,000 moves and not know how to do either one.
Right. Yeah. That's a good one too. Yeah. And so, yeah, I agree that's definitely what's needed. And that kind of goes back to what we were saying a little bit ago about people not being able to deal with the losses and stuff like that, because they're not doing it every day to hone their craft. Like he was saying that one dude is like 40 years old, incredibly wealthy, incredibly successful. He still writes every day, and he doesn't do it to get more wealthy and successful. I mean, he possibly, that's possibly one of it, but most of it is to hone his craft to get better and better and better and better and better. I mean,
because you can't hone the craft you're not going to make no money if you can't hone the craft.
Yeah, exactly. And that's definitely what's needed as well. So it's not about the wins and the losses. That is just that's just the ego portion of the human experience, but getting great at what you do requires you to do it all the time and to not worry about the wins and the losses, and to take those opportunities when they come across and go and knock them out and stuff like that.
It's a challenge. Yeah, it's the challenge, man. You got to challenge yourself. Like even now, like me, I've been getting back into working out and realizing that, hey, there are just certain things at my age now that I can't eat anymore, right? Like I can't just be consuming that shit. I'll be 50 years old I'll be 50 next year. And I'm just like, dude, I cannot consume all that. But the fact that I want to have the energy that I have now, I feel it. And I'm like, okay, I want to continue this.
Right.
So that's that practice.
I feel how you are with that, man, because I'm 36 and
I look great, brother.
right. There's that. But like, if I eat after like 10 o'clock at night, man, like I want to sleep for an extra 4 hours in the morning, and like I'll go to sleep and try to wake up the same time I do, I try to do like the same time roughly every day. Well, if I stop eating by 8 o'clock and I go to sleep at midnight and then wake up at 8, I feel a certain way. I feel pretty good overall. But if I eat at like 10 or 11 o'clock and then go to sleep at midnight, stuff like that, then it messes with me, man. This is just exactly what you say and stuff like that. As you go, things are going to change, but you still have to, that repetition is where it gets it, And I mean, another person that some people might know of is an artist named Russ. He was putting out a new song, a whole new song every week for like a couple years. Now, while I personally think his music still sucks, he probably did get a lot better over those 2 years from when he started, and so people are probably gonna not like what I just said right there, but in general, listen to what I'm saying though, whether or not you love Russ, the thing is that he did it every week, and he was getting better and better at what he did in the making of the music, but he also was getting better and better with the other part of the craft as an entertainer, which is entertaining people. Exactly. He was giving people steady entertainment. He was getting better at giving them steady entertainment.
Great content on TikTok, which put
all that
rappers
stuff
on. Yeah, which he was able to help other artists
all
out.
That
so
stuff.
He was able to do so. Yeah. So the thing is, like, again, like when we think, and I'm guilty of this because I've always looked at talent like, oh fuck y'all talent is what it is. Right? But at the same time, it's like, no, man, you know what? There are things I need to learn. Right? Like us being in, like thinking about, like when we think about us learning music marketing, us being able to get into the course, but not only that, but learning about music marketing through other resources and things, and then just taking a serious turn with it, and really looking at it and saying, all right, how is this going to help me in my career as a musician? How can I help or be involved in music? Right. And so it's like, now I realize, hey, there's so many opportunities that we have now that can put us in music. Hey, we can work for different companies. I mean, we're qualified, showing our resume through our content, we can show that, hey, we can become a director of digital marketing at a record label.
Yeah, or even just be freelance.
Or freelance.
Yeah. Because I mean, I personally don't want to work for another company.
No, I know. I'm just saying, but I'm just saying that all our skills, the skills that we have, we can definitely go if we want to go that route. We can go work for a company.
But it makes it to where you can have more ability, and that's the same with everything, everything, talent.
So don't just be afraid. Yeah, don't be afraid to just don't be afraid. My point, don't be afraid to like expand just off of your talent, because there's a lot more you can do with just your talent. There's a lot more you can do than just sing.
Yeah. And what I would say to kind of wrap up the show for today, what I would say as well too is that don't be afraid to work every day what you want to do. Exactly. But also don't be afraid to think outside the box and try different things. Because a lot of people still to this day look at me and say, Harkos, you're crazy for saying fuck live shows. Like in-person live shows. Harkos, you're crazy for trying to focus only online. That's not where it's at. You got to be known locally before you're known, globally. You got to do all these shows. You got to work the circuit, blah, blah, blah. And I say, fuck all that shit, because I just think differently, and you got to be, and I'm getting proven every fucking day when Wiz Khalifa sells his fucking back catalog for hundreds of millions of dollars and no longer is going to make money off of the streaming for it and everything like that, that is a turning of the tide of everything. And that's only one element. Yes, I know that's the streaming part that everybody's telling me I need to stop focusing on. Yes, I get it. That would be one way that people can tell me, Harkos, you're fucking up. You need to get the live, because that's what Wiz is doing live. It's like, no, Wiz also just went on Bill Maher's podcast. You know what I'm saying? Not Bill Maher's show on HBO, his podcast where he's like chilling in the basement, smoking weed and drinking. Like that, like Wiz Khalifa went on Bill Maher. Like total opposite ends of the spectrum on on entertainment. You know, one's a comedian and politic, you know, commentarian and stuff like that, and the other one's a rapper and a movie star and stuff like that, you know. And but like, you don't be afraid to do something different, and don't be afraid to have people tell you that you're fucking crazy or that you're doing something wrong, because time and time again, the people that are told that they're crazy, or that they're going against the grain too much or whatever, those are the ones that end up breaking out. So hone your craft every day. Every day, work on something. Even if it's only like 20, 30 minutes, you're going over something you just recorded the other day. You're, you know, working on a couple, you know, flubs or something like that. You're getting a little bit more smooth, whatever it is. Work on that every day.
Yep.
But also expand your mind, expand your skill set. You know, while me and KP are marketing managers, where we will not only help develop content strategies and brand growth strategies, fan base growth strategies, or also just manage your marketing online on different social media platforms and Google and stuff like that. You know, we can do that for you, obviously, but you can do it for yourself too, because we are not rocket scientists, Elon Musk level intelligence type of fucking people. Okay. We're both intelligent, but we're not, let's create PayPal tonight with me and one of my other buddies, Jack Dorsey, real quick, and make billions of dollars off of it. We're not on that level, just like many of you probably are not on that level. But what we can do is we can teach ourselves how to be as self-sufficient as possible. And then as we start gaining success, then we can look at what we enjoy doing and what we don't enjoy doing. And then we can start outsourcing what we don't enjoy doing to focus more on what we enjoy doing. And I think that the problem is that a lot of artists try to get to that first instead of last. They try to say, oh, I just want to make the music and perform it. I don't want to deal with any of the business and the marketing and social media bullshit and everything. Okay,
Worst
fine.
mistake in the world to make, guys.
Yeah. Okay, fine. You don't want to worry about it. Well, you have two choices in order to grow. You either have to do it yourself or pay somebody to do it. So you got to spend the time to learn how to do it and do it yourself, or you got to spend the money to have somebody else do it for you.
And either you still way, need to learn how to do it if you're going to have someone, if you're going to pay someone to do it.
Yeah, because you want to make sure that they're going to be doing it right. So even if they know way more than you do, but you know in general how to do it, that's going to be the best thing for you. So you need, that is still an element that is needed, because I see so many people that get frustrated with the learning curve of it or the expense curve of having somebody else do it for them, that they, without saying it outright, have a fuck marketing aspect to their music. And say dumb shit like, I'm going to put the music out and let it speak for itself. Doesn't work. You know, I hate that shit. I hate that shit. Right. And so I've said it before. I know I said it at least in the last couple podcasts, but that's what I recommend every single one of y'all do. Learn, you know, hone your craft, learn how to grow your craft on the business and marketing and promotional side. In general, bare minimum, if not like dive in deep in it, because you might end up liking it. You know, you might end up being you end up
trust me, you end up loving it, because once you realize that you can handle business and you understand it, you're gonna like it even more. Sometimes I gotta catch myself, because sometimes I like the business more than trying to do the music. So like, oh shit, I gotta write.
I get in that aspect sometimes too, and I'm just like, fuck, I still gotta do all this shit for my stuff, you know. But it's all about your personality and stuff like that. But you know, like we've said, you know, everything that we said here today, 100%, man. Did you have any last thoughts before I just keep talking for no reason?
No, man, you just dropped a hell of a sauce right there, brother. That was good. That was good.
Dope. But yeah, so appreciate it, man. But yeah, so as of the recording of this one, this is our fourth podcast. Our first one has already been released or scheduled to be released on all of the platforms and everything like that. So by the time you're listening to this, not 100% exactly if we're going to just do one a week or we're going to keep having a couple in advance, but either way, we are up on all streaming platforms, social media platforms, everything, even the, however you want to view them, the obscure ones like True Social, Rumble, Locals, stuff like that. We're
Those
up
are
on
cool.
everywhere. Yeah,
Those are
we're up.
cool.
We're up everywhere. Okay.
Nice.
You can find everything that you want to know about for us at musicmakingsense.pod.com. That's where you can find out how to listen or watch whichever you're not doing right now and you want to do. That's where you can go and find all the social media links to follow us on the socials as a podcast. But also we have our own section in there, the About Us, where it has myself and KP's individual content information with social and streaming platforms. Yeah, well, he's got his done. But anyway, by the time we watch
finish it somewhat. I gotta finish.
Yeah, but by the time they watch this, it's gonna be done. It's not gonna take you weeks and weeks to get it done. But yeah, you can find out how to watch, listen, and follow us on our individual music stuff that we do. And then you can also, there is a discount section with affiliate programs where you can go and shop with companies that you already want to shop with, buy the things you already want to buy. We're not trying to sell you a damn thing, but just use our link when you go to do it and you will help support the show. There's also a donate option in there as well too, if you want to support the fuck out of us. But like, share, follow, subscribe.
I think we should throw our services in there as well, like our definitely throw our service for what we do as far as our marketing and stuff that we do. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's all in our by the time you listen to this, that we're kind of workshopping live on air, but yeah, that's gonna be on our About Us as well too. So everything that you want to find, musicmakingsense.pod.com. Link is going to be in the description for that. But like I said, everything is available there. All the socials, all the streaming platforms, all the ways to support us, all the ways to contact us, all the ways to work with us if you choose to do that as well too. Like I keep saying every time, we have free first consultations where we sit down, chop it up. Even if you just want to say hey to us, hey, it is what it is, but we can help you out. Keep tuning in every single episode. Keep sharing it with at least one person. I know at least one person, if not more than one person, who would like this or needs to hear this kind of stuff, whether it's this episode or another episode. Make sure you share the fuck out of it. All right. And as always, big shout out to Brandman Network, Brandman over there on all the YouTube and everything like that. They drop a hell of a knowledge as well too. And me and KP would not have met if it wasn't for their individual network that they have. And because they do have a network for artists and everything like that, but then they also have a separate one for music marketing.
Contrabrand Agency
as well
y'all.
too. Yeah,
check it out. And they're
So-
based in Georgia. Shout out Brandman Sean.
Right.
Corey.
Right, exactly.
You know?
Yeah, so but yeah, so like we give props where it's due, and whether
Much love to them
even
guys.
though those two did not hand deliver each one of us to each other, but they put together something on their podcast, and then they put together their network and stuff like that for people to collaborate in all different ways. And so just again, a big shout out to them. But yeah, without further ado, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Do all the stuff I just said to do, like, share, follow, subscribe, all that shit over on social streaming platforms and our website. And we will see y'all on the next episode. Again, my name's Harkos, here, as always, with KP.
And you know it.
Yeah,
Holla,
see y'all
y'all.
later.